feu de camp ce soir de fête comme au bon vieux. Tout le monde dehors devant le feu de camp ce soir de fête comme au bon vieux. Habille-toi chaudement et tire-toi une bûche. Habille-toi chaudement et tire-toi une bûche. Et si jamais tu as trop froid, rapproche-toi du feu et de moi.
Dorgothoth?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dorgothoth is a mean undead, very powerful undead. Maybe consort to gods, servant of gods, that level. And Dorgothoth is very cunning. Dorgothoth definitely takes the long view and plans all sorts of things. So what this sort of means is Dorgothoth would be ideal for a prime mover, the cause, the brains behind and the power behind a move for Themberchaud. Something that Themberchaud couldn't engineer by himself.
Yeah, because like...
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, because, yeah, when the movie starts, right, we've got Themberchaud in Dalblund. There's no sign of Dorgothoth, right? And, you know, how I was emphasizing before that he's not impulsive, he's cunning, he's patient. In the movie, this character who's cunning and patient all of a sudden shows up in a different location, in a different dragon's lair. We don't see any signs of that Dracolich around. And he almost immediately, he doesn't like talk to the characters. He just charges in and starts attacking, right? So clearly something has happened to his personality, or he's being manipulated in some way when he attacks in that movie, is my thought.
But also he was being kept prisoner because he had to come through the wall to get to them.
Exactly. So
something happened at that point.
Something is going on. Here we have a captive creature in one city, all of a sudden shows up in a different city, perhaps a captive again, and starts acting impulsively and attacking. And what we know about that other city is what Ed had already told us, is that it was the lair of a powerful, manipulative Dracolich. Right? So it kind of makes you wonder what was really happening behind the scenes in that movie.
So another question would be: is how did Themberchaud, being born and raised in Gracklestub, how did he know about the Dracolich? Did the Dracolich?
I don't know that he. I don't know that he did.
Maybe he called to him and was saying, "I need you here." Maybe he needed him for something, and then he wound up killing the Dracolich.
No, see, I don't see him being able to kill.
Or he took his place there. Maybe that he promised him something. And he got him out of one prison and wound up prisoning him again. Yeah, go
ahead, Ed.
No, that's more likely, is all I was going to say.
Yeah. He lured him there, then imprisoned him, and the Dracolich then left.
Well, I don't know that he left. He might still have been there. So that's what I was trying to say. Is so like, if you're a prisoner and you're manipulated by a group of people and you're desperate to escape, you might believe any offer from someone that would get you out, even if that puts you into a worse prison than that you got out of.
Right.
And so, you know, a Dracolich of his power is capable of casting wish spells, you know, right? I mean, you can use a wish spell to say, Jeff, I wish you were here, and boom, you're right.
Boom, there I am.
Right? You know,
true.
So
that's true.
You know, the Dracolich would have had the power with his magic to simply remove Themberchaud from that situation.
That makes more sense.
And who knows whether there was a deal struck and, you know, I'll remove you from here if you act as my guard dog for a century or two, or if it was like, I'm just going to take you and put you here. You're going to be really angry, and when I say attack, you're going to attack.
Well, or it could be something like, this is my lair. I want to leave it to do something for a time. I don't want it despoiled. So I will tell the captive I am leaving behind, anybody who comes is coming for you. And then the captive will just full-on savage attack any intruders, in this case, the heroes in the movie. Because according to what Themberchaud believes, they are there to bring about Themberchaud's downfall, one way or another. Doesn't matter what they say or do, that's what they're there for. So it's going to be full-on attack, and it's going to be cut loose time. And because Themberchaud is feeling pushed around, a captive, feeling exploited, feeling hard done by, Themberchaud is just going to, it's a chance to cut loose. So it's like, Rah! You know.
Right.
I finally have a chance to cut loose, and boy, has the frustration been building up for years. Which
and
fits.
That's what you see. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, and so I mean that goes by too that even the paladin, if you go by the script, was shocked that he was there. He didn't expect Themberchaud, and he may have, but wouldn't you think he would have known about the Dracolich? He may have said, "Wary, there's an undead dragon that lives here. We don't want to disturb him."
I'm not sure how well that would have been known.
Mm-hmm.
He was. I mean, if you read Ed's write-up back in Dragon magazine, Dargagoth is secretive, hidden, manipulative. While Elminster might reveal it to Ed of the Greenwood, right? I don't think it was known to the inhabitants of the Sword Coast that he was there. That would not have been common knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, if you're, I like Ed's idea. If you're a dragon and you need to go on a trip or something like that, even if the PCs do figure out there's a Dracolich down there and they're all armed and ready for undead, and then they show up and boom, there's a red dragon they didn't expect, that's a nice little gotcha, right?
Yeah.
By changing it out from underneath them, you put a guardian that they don't expect, that can really sort of negate a lot of adventurers' ability to prepare for a combat.
Yeah. And as for them the paladin not knowing, take a look at how he is portrayed in the movie.
Right.
Different sense of humor than most people. Very flat. Remember how he departs them, and I'm now spoilering the movie. Remember how he departs the crew. There's a big boulder on the beach.
Walks right over it.
He walks right over it. Doesn't go around it. Walks right over it. Because that's him. He's
Nothing's
very
in my
literal.
way. Nothing goes in my way.
And remember the very first time we see him in the movie when he's making that rescue. He strides up, hands his cloak to somebody without even looking at them, goes and deals with the problem, accepts the plaudits as a yes, of course, and walks away. So I'm not seeing this particular character as one who would interest himself in small details and ferreting them out unless they were germane. When he's speaking to the bard, Edrin, in the movie, which I always avoid saying his name because they call him Ed all the way through.
I know.
Thanks, guys. But when he's speaking to him, he knows how he wants to manipulate the bard to do his bidding. I need you to do this. So he's taken an interest in the bard's past and what will move the bard to do things. As in, your Harper past. But you also get the feeling that this paladin wouldn't intrude on other people's stuff if it wasn't germane to what he's doing.
Right.
I hate to say it, but he's a user. But the rest of the time, he doesn't want to be a user. He doesn't want to be part of your life. He doesn't want to horn in because you have to make your own life path. That's the whole point. For you to be worthy of the good stuff, by serving the god, you need to have made those choices freely, not have them rammed down your throat by somebody like me, unless I need you to do something for the greater good. In which case, you're meat, buddy. You're going to do what I want. And that's the way that paladin is all the way through. So he would probably not have interested himself in Dorgothoth because, hey, that is none of my business. Literally, it is none of my business. And this world would work so much better if people confined themselves to their own business. Don't you find? And I mean, that's the way that character is portrayed. And that's the thing. When people are asking, why not this? Why not that? The key is always the character. What would the character do? Not what you would do. And I see young gamers do this all the time. They'll ask me questions like, well, why does so-and-so have this cloak when they're a vampire? I mean, they'd hardly get to use it. And I'm thinking, stop metagaming. Stop thinking like a human being looking down at the gaming table and start thinking like a character alive in the setting. And, well, if she's had that cloak for years, it's her favorite cloak, she always wears it. She's become a vampire, how would that change anything?
Right.
Because she's not thinking about, oh, what's my best character build? How can I min-max to win the situation? She's living in the setting. And that's the same thing. That's the key to understanding how the paladin works and what the paladin knows. It's the key, most importantly, to understanding how Dorgothoth is operating behind the scenes that we don't see in the movie, and therefore how Themberchaud is behaving when we see Themberchaud on stage in full out attack mode. Wah! All the time you're going, this doesn't fit Themberchaud's character. Okay, why is Themberchaud acting out of character? And this is what Eric and George Crashos have for years done. They look at what's on the page, what somebody else wrote, God help them, no matter what, and then they fix it. They expand
it.
No, they fix it. No, come on, Eric.
Yeah, you fix it.
Don't contradict, massage, reinterpret, expand.
There you go.
Re-emphasize.
I'm just going to expand you a little, sir. This won't hurt much. You'll enjoy it.
That's right. That's right. Let me get my tools.
Yeah.
So that's where I would go with them. I don't know if that's where if they ever have another movie, if they'll take them that way. But that's what I would do. Is I would play up those aspects and go that direction. Go ahead, Jeff.
So do we have not a definitive, but an idea or a seed you can give the DMs of how he got to Dunblend? Do we have?
So my thought is Dorgothoth plucked him out of Gracklestugh and put him into Dunblend, and either he's there the whole time, behind the scenes watching, or he's left on some sabbatical and Themberchaud is guarding things for him while he's gone. I think the latter probably makes some more sense. So there's that manipulation going on, right? Is that he's left a booby trap, an angry red dragon.
I was just going to say that. No, but how about a contingency spell that the Dracolich can leave, but as soon as somebody gets into a certain point, he is plucked out of Gracklestugh immediately and thrown into that lair. So that's one reason why he's so pissed off, because you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I that could be. I actually think there's probably more. I would probably go the more plotting approach. There's something else that Ed had done back in, I think, Dragon 110 when he first detailed the Cult of the Dragon, and had talked about how a Dracolich, if you kill it, can take over the body of almost any other nearby dragon. Like the corpse of any other nearby dragon, right? So another value to Dorgothoth to having Themberchaud there is if he's killed, that's a spare body that he can use if the Dracolich is ever threatened. So there's a lot of value for Dracoliches to having corpses around that they can take over. And Dorgothoth probably could take over a living dragon as well. So it's like, there's value in having a spare body hanging around, is how I would also put it. So I don't know that I would do it. I like the idea of a contingency of pulling him at the last second. I think it's more interesting to say that he pulled him at some point in the past, sometime between the events of 1491 and the movie, which is, I think, 1496. I'm not sure if that's right, Ed, if you remember off the top of your head or not.
1497.
Something
Yeah.
like it. So somewhere in there, I would say Dargagoth kidnapped Themberchaud, either completely without Themberchaud knowing, or as part of a deal Themberchaud shouldn't have made, but he was desperate to get out of Gracklestug. And now he's moved to Dalblund. It had to be done with magic because he's too big to escape. And then either Dargagoth is behind the scenes, or he is left on his sabbatical and left Themberchaud as a guard dog in his wake. That to me makes a little bit more sense. But that's probably what I would do with it. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was the ending of that scene is really curious. It's a little unclear to me, and I've watched it twice, but I need to watch it again. Exactly how the party escapes Dalblund. I was really puzzled the first time I watched it because they end up on a seashore, which obviously, as we've discussed, is not where I thought Dalblund was. So either I was wrong where Dalblund was, or perhaps part of that trap they escaped through is actually a portal.
Yes.
Is my thought. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, exactly. It's a portal.
And so they weren't under the seashore. They were someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everything you see of the vegetation, the subterranean vegetation and the dampness and so on, doesn't say, we're right by a seashore. It doesn't say that at all.
Yeah.
No. And plus, if that's the case, and that did fall in, that it would have flooded Dalblund completely, then you wouldn't have any more Dalblund to go to.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So did they enter the Underdark in the Ardeep? Do you know?
That part was a little unclear. I think the intent was maybe the Crypt Garden Forest. I'd have to go back and watch it again. I think they mentioned the Crypt Garden, but I could be mistaken on that.
Did they? Okay, because I mean, the location. When I say that, the location you said would be kind of north of Daggerford, right, and then east. Of...
Yeah, it'd be somewhere between Ardeep Forest and the Westwood. Would probably be is probably where I had it.
Okay.
I think I had a map of that.
Well, I'm looking at it here, and this map needs to be more. It's not as detailed. It's got the Sword Mountains. There's a Crypt Garden Forest, but that's north of the River Desserin. So, I was thinking.
So yeah, but that's roughly where it is.
Okay, okay, that's really north of Daggerford. That's above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing to think about in the movie is, the movie jump cuts, as all movies do, to take out lots and lots of travel.
Right.
Unless you need a scene, as we got in the movie, where they're resting somewhere, and they have to have big explanation talks.
Lore drop.
Yeah, or in this case, we're seeing Simon trying to attune himself to it.
Right.
Unless you need that, they telescope around all the hours or days of traveling. And I think it is very easy to assume, because of how we jump from the Paladin saying, basically to Edrin, you're going to come back. You're going to be a Harper. I know you were, because I know what's in your heart, blah, blah, blah. And then, bang, we're going down this hole in the woods with a rope. And it's like, you don't know what went on in between those. But
right.
Because it's done just like that, you assume not much time has passed. That's not necessarily the case. We just don't know.
Said, don't you go anywhere now. Ain't nobody say what I own. Sky, let me gonna get get everything now. I'm taking it, I'm taking it. I say don't you go anywhere now. Ain't nobody said what I own. Skyline, we're gonna get everything now. I'm taking it, I'm taking it.
La 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 la.